Daf Yomi Tractate Bava Batra, page 141a, top of the page, with the words Ela le'abaye mai nizon kabas uletamech l'rava mai yorish keben Ela ra'ui lirash ve'ein lo hachanami ra'ui lizon ve'ein lo. But according to the opinion of Abaye, what does it mean that the tumtum is sustained as a daughter? Since Abaye maintains that the tumtum does not have the rights of a daughter, the Gemara responds, and according to your reasoning, even according to Rava, what does it mean that a tumtum inherits a son? Since Rava concedes that the tumtum and sons do not actually inherit anything, rather the Braita means that it is fitting for the tumtum to inherit, but he does not actually inherit. Here too, with regard to sustenance, according to Abaya, the Braita means that it is fitting for the tumtum to be sustained, but he is not actually sustained. Ha'omer, im yolda ishti zachar, the Mishnah teaches, with regard to one who says, if my wife gives birth to a male, the offspring shall receive 100 dinars. If she in fact gave birth to a male, the offspring receives 100 dinars. If he says, if my wife gives birth to a female, the offspring shall receive 200 dinars. If she in fact gave birth to a female, the offspring receives 200 dinars. Okay. Lememra de bas adifa le iben Amar Rabbi Yochanan mishum Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai kol she'ena maniach ben l'Yehoshua HaKadosh Baruch Hu malei alav avira shenemar ve'avartem et nachlato levito ve'en avira ela avra en avara ela evra malei alav evra. Evra? I thought it was avira. Evra is actually not Avera, I'm sorry. Shinemar Vartim Lachal Ein Avara Ela Evra. Shinemar Hayom Evra Hayom Ahu. Okay. The Mishnah teaches, with regard to one who says, if my wife gives birth to a male, the offspring shall receive 100 dinars, if in fact she gave birth to a male, if the offspring receives 100 dinars. If he says, if my wife gives birth to a female, the offspring shall receive 200 dinars, if she in fact gave birth to a female, the offspring receives 200 dinars. The Gemara asks, is this to say that for him a daughter is preferable to a son? But this seems to contradict Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai with regard to anyone who does not leave behind a son to inherit from him, the Holy One, blessed be He, is filled with wrath upon him. As it is stated, if a man dies and has no son, then you shall cause his inheritance to pass to his daughter. Numbers 27 verse 8, the term Havara means nothing other than wrath, as it is stated. The day is a day of wrath. Zephaniah 1:15. It's kind of hard to say that if he doesn't leave a son, but it's not his choice. He's not able to make that happen. A person isn't able to make himself have a son. How can you incur wrath for something that you have no control over? The Gemara resolves the contradiction with regard to the matter of inheritance. For him, a son is preferable to a daughter, as a son bears his name and retains his ancestral heritage within his father's tribe. But with regard to the matter of providing for his offspring's comfort, for him, his daughter is preferable to his son, as his son is more capable of coping for himself, and the daughter needs more support. Shmuel Amar, and Shmuel says, Hacha bima keres bim keres bim ba keres askinan. V'chid Rav Chizda, Damar Rav Chizda, Bas Techila, Simen Yafel Lebanim, Ikad Amri, De Merabia Leachia, Ikad Amri, Telo Sholta Be Ein Abisha, Amar Rav Chizda, Uledidi, Banatan, Adifan, Li Mibene. And Shmuel said here we are dealing with a mother who is giving birth for the first time, and this is in accordance with the statement of Rav Chizda, as Rav Chizda says, if one gives birth to a daughter first, it is a good sign for sons. There are those who say that this is because she raises her brothers, meaning helps in their upbringing. And there are those who say that this is because the evil eye does not have dominion over the father. Rav Chizda said, and as for myself, I prefer daughters to sons. Okay. All right. The Gemara adds, and if you wish, say, in accordance with whose statement is this Mishnah in which preference is given to the daughter? It is in accordance with the statement of Rabbi Yehuda. Hi, Rabbi Yehuda. Ilem Rabbi Yehuda de Bakol de Tanya. Vashem ve'ezav ramakol. Rabbi Meir Omer Shalo Haya Lo Bat. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Shahayta Lo Bat Ubakol Shma. So I think it's next week's parsha. Yeah. It's either this week's or next week's. Bakol. Okay. Amar Shemat Le Rabbi Yehuda. The Shemat Le Rabbi Yehuda Var Tzadami Lo Chas Rechman Avram. The Gemara asks, which statement of Rabbi Yehuda is this referring to? If we say it is referring to the statement of Rabbi Yehuda with regard to the term with everything that is difficult, the Gemara cites Rabbi Yehuda's statement as it is taught in a Batra, and Abraham was old, well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham with everything. Genesis 24, verse 1. Rabbi Meir says the blessing was that he did not have a daughter. Rabbi Yehuda says the blessing was that he had a daughter, and her name was Bakol. Evidently, Rabbi Yehuda understands the birth of a daughter to be a blessing. The Gemara explains the difficulty. Say that you heard Rabbi Yehuda explain that the blessing was that the merciful one did not even deprive Abraham of a daughter in addition to his sons. Did you hear him say that a daughter is preferable to a son? Ela ha Rabbi Yehuda de Tanya mitzvah lezunet habanot v'kal v'chomer labonim de'oiske batoiro divrei Rabbi Meir Rabbi Yehuda omer mitzvah lezunet habonim v'kal v'chomer labonis delo litaz lan. The Gemara proposes another of Rabbi Yehuda's statements. Rather, it is referring to this other statement of Rabbi Yehuda, as it is taught in Batra. One is not halakhically obligated to provide sustenance for his children beyond the age of 6. Nevertheless, it is a mitzvah to provide sustenance for the daughters. And one can infer, a fortiori, that it is certainly a mitzvah to provide for his sons who are engaged in the study of Torah. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says, it is a mitzvah to provide sustenance for the sons, and one can infer a fortiori that it is certainly a mitzvah to provide for daughters, so that they not be disgraced by having to beg for their livelihood. This indicates that, with regard to providing sustenance for one's children, Rabbi Yehuda gives preference to the daughters. Eloha de Tanyo. Yolda Zachan Nekeva Zachan Oitel Shisha Dinarin and Nekeva Notela Shnei Dinarin. B'mai, the Mishnah discusses a case where one stipulated that if his wife gives birth to a male, the offspring shall receive 100 dinars, and if she gives birth to a female, the offspring shall receive 200 dinars. The Mishnah states that if she gave birth to both a male and a female, the male receives 100 dinars and the female receives 200. The Gemara asks, but with regard to that which is taught in a Batra to Sefta 9:4, if she gave birth to a male and a female, the male receives 6 dinars of gold, which are equivalent to 150 dinars of silver, and the female receives 2 dinars of gold, equivalent to 50 dinars of silver. With what situation is this bride dealing? Amar Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi says, I said this halacha before Rav Kahana, and he explained it as teaching about one who inverted the stipulations of his gift. B'mesares damar zachar tchila masayim nekeva acharav lo klum nekeva tchila mane zachar acharei mane v'yizah zachar nekeva lo yedinen heim manayu nach v'reshe zachar shakal minam yiman afshach ida menach hava b'mon utav safek v'cholkin. Rav Kahana explained that his teaching about one who inverted the stipulations of his gift. The bride is referring to one who said if a male is born first, he will receive 200 dinars, and if a female is born after him, she will receive nothing. And if a female is born first, she will receive 100 dinars, and if a male is born after her, he will receive 100 dinars. And the mother gave birth to a male and a female, but we do not know which of them emerged from the womb first. In this case, the male takes 100 dinars, as, whichever way you look at it, this sum is due to him. The other 100 dinars are property of uncertain ownership and are divided equally between the male and female. V'hadatanya yolda zacha unekeva ein loi elamana hechi mishkachas la amarim mevasreni. The Gemara asks, and with regard to what is taught in another Braita, if she gave birth to a male and a female, he receives only 100 dinars. How can you find these circumstances? Rabbeinu said, this is referring to one who said, I shall give a certain sum to whoever informs me.